Alright, so first things first, to kick off today's cannabis-powered yet sports-driven talk show. It's hard to deny the positive effect that cannabis has had on sports in the past and sports today as we know it. Cannabis is a part of sports whether you like it or not.
The Fantasy Football Huddle, presented by the Huddle Chat Sports Show and your host, Dallas Clark, also known as Indo is my Nindo. Everybody huddle up, grab a piece of paper, and get settled in. It's just about time for the Fantasy Football Huddle, presented by the Huddle Chat Sports Show and your host, Indo is my Nindo. Let's get it started, baby.
What is happening, baby? Good morning, you beautiful motherfuckers. Thank y'all so much for tuning in today. How is everybody doing on this absolutely amazing Saturday? A Saturday where we have NFL football action, a Saturday where we have fantasy football playoff action, and a Saturday where we're going to lock in the beginning of what is the end for our fantasy football leagues, because we are going to win it. I'm going to help y'all hoist up that trophy. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys drop those questions down below so that way we can get all your questions answered to you and everything like that as well. Without further ado, we're going to kind of get into today. We're going to be mostly focusing on these Saturday games because that's going to be what's going to be moving and shaking this week is going to be these Saturday games. We've only got 3 games this Saturday, so that's what we're going to be focusing on primarily this morning, so I can still have that episode for you guys tomorrow morning as typically promised. Give me 1 second to pull up my starters and sit-ems for you guys for this week. For this week's games as well, I've had some pretty good questions for you guys from you guys so far this week. As far as startums and sit-ems, I apologize for not being able to get out my episodes this week. I was having an issue with my editor that was not allowing me to get all of my edits in so I could post the videos for your startums and sit-ems for your waiver wires and things of that nature. So let me see here. Give me 1 second. First of all, starting everything off, we got that Minnesota Vikings Cincinnati Bengals game today. If you are looking at anything in a betting sense of the word, I am going to be taking the under, which is 41 points for this game. I do not expect a high-scoring game. Now, we are coming off of a Thursday night football game where we had a very similar situation where we were looking at it and saying it wasn't going to be a high-scoring game, and the Raiders put up 63 points. Who the hell expected the Raiders to put up 63 points? I would love to see what the betting line would have been on that bet of putting that Raiders, of how that Raiders-Chargers game went on Thursday Night Football. But nonetheless, I do expect this first game on Saturday, Cincinnati, Minnesota. Nick Mullins starting at quarterback. Josh Dobbs, the Pastronaut's going to be the emergency third-string quarterback. He's not even, I don't think, dressed up today. You're also looking at the fact that the Bengals have Jake Browning, who's been playing really good. And I actually like Jake Browning a lot. If you need a streaming quarterback this week, Jake Browning is probably going to be one of my top options for you to snag off of the waiver wire right before the game starts. You're looking at him passing over these last two games, passing over that 20 points in your fantasy football leagues. You're looking at him passing over that 250 yards. You're looking at him taking those 2 touchdowns in both of these last 2 games. So I'm really liking Jake Browning a ton for Cincinnati here this Monday, or for this Saturday morning football game. And then we also got that Colts game here in the afternoon, which is going to be the Colts-Steelers, which is going to be kicking off at 4:30 Eastern time. So we got some good starters and sit-ems for you here. Let me get up into that for you guys. So like I said, we're going to kind of start with quarterbacks as we like to do. My quarterback for this morning is going to be Jake Browning. I like Jake Browning a lot this week. And despite the bad matchup for Gardner Minshew with the Cincinnati or with the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're looking at Gardner Minshew having a safe floor. So if you're taking a quarterback, if you're needing to start a running back or a quarterback that's coming off the waiver wire, or a quarterback that you wouldn't prefer to start for whatever reason, most likely due to injury this week, I like Gardner Minshew a lot. He may not put up 25, 30 points in your fantasy football league, but I predict he's going to put up a nice safe 18, something you're not going to be absolutely disappointed with. So I do like rocking with Gardner Minshew a lot. I don't really like any of the backup options from Minnesota or Pittsburgh. I'm staying away from both of them as well. Let me see if we pull up some of these comments that y'all got going. Good morning. Thank y'all for stopping in so far today. Morning, Mama. How you doing? She said, good morning, Sunshine. Hair looks amazing. What about Josh Downs? Start or sit this week? I like Josh Downs a lot this week. You're looking at how he kind of has that Tyreek in him. You're looking at him being able to get take that ball and take it down the field on a quick slant on a 5-yard pass. So I like Josh Downs. You also look at him being at one of Gardner Minshew's favorite targets. And I think that Joey Porter Jr. is going to be lined up with Michael Pittman Jr. today, which is going to be leaving Josh Downs with a pretty good matchup this week. Gardner's going to have to get the ball out of his hands pretty fast. So I actually do think Josh Downs has got a pretty good lineup for 7 catches today on 10 targets. I do like him for a touchdown as well. I think that this Colts game is going to be a pretty good game, better than a lot of people expect, which has been how most Colts games have been this week. So I like Josh Downs this week as a stardom. Jocelyn, thanks so much for checking me out. Love you so much. Good morning, gorgeous. She said Jerick McKinnon or Deontay Foreman in RB2. That's going to be a tough question because both of those running backs are going to be in very similar situations, but also completely different. You're looking at Deontay Foreman and his value added as a receiver last week. Deontay Foreman was my start of the week this week. I mean, you're looking at him with his value added as a receiver makes him really tantalizing this week. But you also have the fact that Deontay Foreman is potentially going to be splitting carries with either Khalil Herbert or the other backup running back down there. I can't remember what his name is off the top of my head right now. But you're looking at Deontay Foreman not having an extremely clear path towards a perfect game this week. And the same goes for Jerick McKinnon. Jerick McKinnon is splitting carries with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You're looking at the Chiefs being a very run-heavy or pass-heavy offense that doesn't involve their running backs, especially where you need them in the golden area, which is going to be in that red zone. Give me a pause for the coffee cause, y'all. Peppermint coffee, y'all know how I got to do it on the wintertime. God damn, that's delicious. If you ain't get no peppermint coffee creamer yet this year, boy, you got to go get you a peppermint mocha coffee creamer and hook it up. Anyway, to answer your question, I think I like Deontay Foreman more with the ability to have a higher ceiling potential to score the touchdowns in the red zone. The problem with Jerick McKinnon is I feel like he's going to have to rely solely on volume because the Chiefs pass to their running back in the red zone and around the end zone at a lower rate than anybody in the NFL. So I like Deontay Foreman for the sole fact that he has a higher ceiling, but Jerick McKinnon is not a bad way to go either. Zay Flowers or Jay Reed in the flex. Ooh, man, y'all are coming out with the Louisville Sluggers this morning, and I appreciate the questions. You're looking at the Packers. Let me see here. Give me one moment. I was just looking at that game 1 second ago. Give me one moment here. You're looking at the Packers. They have a fairly middle of the road, but decent matchup this week. Give me one moment to pull it up and look at it. Alrighty here. So you're looking at, when it comes to this Packers game, so we're looking at Jordan Reed or we're looking at Zay Flowers. I like Zay Flowers, and I was having a very similar situation with Zay Flowers in my flex this week. You're looking at Jordan Love. He's playing, let me see, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They've allowed the sixth most fantasy points to quarterbacks this season, which is looking at Jaden Reed being allowed to have the ability to get a lot of passing yards in this week, or a lot of receiving yards in this week, as well as he gets that rushing involvement as well. However, the Packers playing the Buccaneers, I don't expect it to be a crazy game this week. I don't expect it to be a crazy high-scoring game. So I think Jaden Reed has a safe floor, but you're looking at Zay Flowers, and he's been very hard to predict, and that's the problem with Zay Flowers right now. Is some weeks Zay Flowers has been balling, and then some weeks Zay Flowers puts up 2 points, which has really been killing you. But I really think that Zay Flowers, he would have a higher ceiling, but the potential for the lower floor really scares me. So if you're trying to swing for the fences and you had a bad start, if you started, let's say, the Chargers defense on Thursday Night Football, and they got you off to a shitty start because you thought you had a good matchup, and who the fuck thought the Raiders were going to put up 63 points on Monday and on Thursday Night Football? And you're swinging for the fences and you're trying to get a lot of points. I would say Zay Flowers would be the way to go because he has the higher potential to swing for the fences and get those higher points for you. But then when you're looking at the fact that Jay Reed, I also think that he's going to have a kind of a difficult path to points. I like the volume. I like the involvement in the offense. You're looking at Jaden Reed just not having the same ability to explode this week. So I'm going to be going with Zay Flowers over Jaden Reed. Let's see here what else we got. Sorry, I'm bouncing back and forth between the comments and my startups and sit-ems list just so I can make sure I have all the matchup information correct for you. Good morning, brother, my boy Elijah. She said, how's your coffee? It's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Demario Douglas, Romeo Dobbs, or Josh Downs. I would have to say Josh Downs. Demario Douglas, you guys know how much I like Demario Douglas, but coming off an injury, playing with a questionable quarterback situation, how this Patriots team has been, Bill Belichick knows he's being fired. I mean, I don't think he's going to throw these last few games, but the Patriots right now don't have much to play for, is kind of what I'm kind of alluding at. I do like Demario Douglas, but I think Josh Downs has a higher ceiling this week, so I would lean Josh Downs. Don't look at that horseshoe that's showing on my shoulder right now. That has nothing to do with my pick of Josh Downs over Demario Douglas. I think that Demario Douglas, just with the questionable on the health, questionability on the health, questionability in the quarterback situation, questionability on the offense altogether. I think he has a pretty decent line for some targets. That's why we started Hunter Henry last week. Was for the pure volume he was going to get. But is this week going to be similar to last week for the New England Patriots offense? We'll have to see. But Josh Downs, I think when you're playing that Pittsburgh Steelers offense, we're going to need some big plays. And Josh Downs right now on the Colts is the big playmaker. You don't have Jonathan Taylor. You don't have Anthony Richardson. Michael Pittman Jr. is the number one target, but Josh Downs is the big play guy. I like Josh Downs. You're looking at Jake Rings. Welcome back, baby boy. How you been, man? I missed you so much, Jake. Sorry for I have not been as active over these past few weeks. Jake says, Jerome Ford, Hollywood Brown, or Jackson Smith, Njigba, full point PPR. It's a good choice. Good decisions there. You like Jackson Smith and Jigba for the fact that he's got that Monday Night Miracle potential. So if you're looking at yourself being down 11 points going into Monday Night Football, you can rely on Jackson Smith and Jigba. However, I think Jerome Ford has just a safer path to better points this week. You're looking at him getting that number one running back role. You're looking at him having virtually no competition for targets. You're looking at them having that backup quarterback in at the current moment. So they're going to be leaning on that run game heavy as they've been. And Jerome Ford has been, even if he hasn't been the same player that he was those first couple weeks after Nick Chubb went down, Jerome Ford has been nice. He's been better than Saquon Barkley this year, which I've had to tell some people this year when it came to trade information, when it came to who won a trade over who. Jerome Ford has been a better running back than Saquon Barkley this year. Jerome Ford has been reliable as at least a flex option. Hollywood Brown, the Cardinals, I just don't like having to attach myself to so many questions on that offense. I do like Hollywood Brown, But we like Hollywood Brown going more into next season. When that team is fully healthy, when that team has a direction that they're going in. But I do think that I'm going to be staying away from Hollywood Brown. I like Jackson Smith and Jigba, but I think Jerome Ford is going to be the way to go. Trey McBride or Isaiah Likely? You asked me this question the other day, and I think that Isaiah Likely is going to be the way to go. Same thing with Zay Flowers. You're looking at them having a decent matchup. You're looking at Trey McBride being attached to that Cardinals offense. That Cardinals offense can completely put up 175 total yards today, and nobody would be surprised by it whatsoever. I think Trey McBride is kind of touchdown dependent, kind of like most tight ends, though. It's not like the wide receiver position. But I think that Isaiah Likely can get more involvement as a receiver without scoring a touchdown. I think that Isaiah Likely can put up 67 yards today without a touchdown. I think that Trey McBride would have to score a touchdown to get over 5 points for you. And typically at your tight end in these important times, you don't like that. Of course, Trey McBride will score a touchdown today. Now that I've said that he won't. So if you're putting in bets, put a bet in on Trey McBride. Just because I just said he won't score a touchdown, he's likely to go off, score a touchdown, and make me regret that. However, I think Isaiah Likely is likely to be the safer choice. Sorry for that. I had to throw that in there. I know that was cheesy. I had to throw it in there. Now, let's run through these starters and sims real quick so y'all can set your bets, set your lineups, watch a little pregame. Well, I'm not trying to push y'all right to 11 o'clock. Let me see here. Just a couple of things on today's games. Like I said, I like Jake Browning this morning. I like Gardner Minshew this afternoon. Zach Moss has been really frustrating these past few weeks. They're playing a tough rushing defense, so temper your expectation if you're starting Zach Moss. Zach Moss can definitely have a good game today, but especially if TJ Watt plays in this game against the Indianapolis Colts, I think that you're looking at the fact that Zach Moss could have yet another game where he takes 17 carries for 63 yards, and you're kind of disappointed in the output based upon what we saw at the beginning of the year and what we were expecting coming into this stretch without Jonathan Taylor. When it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers running backs, you guys know how I've been feeling about the Pittsburgh Steelers running backs. Jaylen Warren, he's dope. Najee Harris is okay. Both running backs can definitely put up their projection, which is around 6 to 8 points non-PPR. However, it's hard to trust this backfield right now. There's so many questions. If you do not have to start Jaylen Warren, if you do not have to start Najee Harris, don't do it. The Colts rushing defense is top half of the league in rushing in stopping the run. You're looking at that running back situation being the fact that both running backs can play well, both running backs can suck, and one running back could go off while the other one struggles. And which situation are we more likely to get today? I can't tell you that information because nobody really knows. I do love Jaylen Warren. I have the confidence in Jaylen Warren that I can start Jaylen Warren happily in my flex. I hate Najee Harris because you drafted Najee Harris as a running back one, and you're talking about starting him as a flex right now, which I don't like. However, it's playoffs. I'm putting my feelings to the side. And if I need to start Najee, I will with confidence in my flex position. However, if I can avoid to stay away from these Pittsburgh Steelers running backs, I will. Obviously, in the morning games, we're going to be starting Joe Mixon. Alexander Madison is out. So you can pick up Ty Chandler. You can go out and get Ty Chandler. You can go out and use Ty Chandler. However, I think Ty Chandler is fool's gold. If you have other options, don't go with Ty Chandler. I don't like him this week. I just don't like Ty Chandler really in general. You look at what he did. I believe it was for the New England Patriots last year. Just not really. No, it was the Jets. He didn't really he had a couple of quick spurts, a couple of good explosive runs, but as the only running back in the backfield with a backup quarterback, the third backup quarterback of the week, Justin Jefferson getting back, I just don't like the equation for Ty Chandler this week. Staying away from Ty Chandler. Let's see here. Kind of looking at just today's games really fast. Give me 1 second. I see your question about Devon A-Chain there. Elijah, give me 1 second to pull that up for you. Got just a couple more things. As far as a betting perspective, I was pretty easy with the bet this morning. Elijah, I'll send you your own, but I was pretty simple bets this morning. I put in the under on the morning game, the Cincinnati Bengals game. I put in the over when it came to the Indianapolis Colts game. Let's see here. And then you had the Broncos-Lions game this evening. I also went with the under on that. So I went under the morning game, under 41 points, over 43.5 for the Colts game, and under 47 for the Lions-Broncos game. When it comes to Lions-Broncos, Jared Goff, I like him. I'm staying away from Jared Goff in one league just because Jared Goff, how he played last week. Plus, I also have Amon-Ra St. Brown and David Montgomery. Plus, with how my team worked out this week, I needed to start both Amon-Ra and David Montgomery, so I didn't want to start Jared Goff as well. Jared Goff's not a bad choice, but I think Russell Wilson is the better quarterback to have in tonight's matchup when it comes to that Lions-Broncos game. I like Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. Sit Jerry Jeudy if you can. Really sit anybody that's not Russell Wilson, Cortland Sutton, or the number one running back, Javonte Williams. When it comes to the Lions, I feel like this is one of those games that the Lions are going to be hard to predict. The Lions could easily come in and play one of the best games they've played all year. Amon-Ra can score a touchdown. David Montgomery can score a touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs can score 2 touchdowns. And I think that is very likely. I think that I'm starting Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm starting David Montgomery. I'm starting Amon-Ra. I'm starting Sam Laporta. And I'm starting Jared Goff if I have to. However, I think there are better streaming options than Jared Goff out there. I personally would probably take Jake Browning for Cincinnati over Jared Goff. That's my hot take for Saturday morning's game. So that's going to kind of do it for that Lions-Broncos game. You start every line that you can, that you already have on your roster that we've been talking about starting for these last few weeks. You start Russell Wilson, you start Cortland Sutton, you start Javonte Williams, everybody else. Stay away from them. Colts game, you're starting Michael Pittman, you're starting Gardner Minshew, you're starting Josh Downs, and you're tempering expectations for Zach Moss. Bengals, you're starting Jamar Chase, you're streaming Jake Browning as my starting streaming quarterback of the week, and you're going to be sitting T. Higgins, sitting Tyler Boyd. And then you're also going to be, I think that's going to be it for the Bengals players, starting Joe Mixon, obviously. And in this morning game, it's going to be hard, man. I mean, if you have Justin Jefferson, you kind of have to play him. But after taking the chest injury 2 weeks into last week, not even knowing, like, I haven't even actually read if he's playing or not yet this morning. I don't think he actually is playing this morning, so you're not even going to have to worry about it. Jordan Addison is going to have to step up this morning, but he's been so up and down, it's hard to trust him. Ty Chandler, I'm staying away from. The Vikings, I really don't like much on the Minnesota Vikings today, except for TJ Hawkinson. I love me some TJ Hawkinson. I'm hawking to it. So I'm pushing TJ Hawkinson into my lineup. Let me get to this one last question so I can get y'all in time to your pregames, to your lineup sets, all that good stuff. Let me see here, Elijah. He says, got Achane against the Jets, Warren against the Colts, and Kenneth Walker against Philly, leaning on Warren possibly for a flex. You're tripping. Go Devon Achane against the Jets. I know the Jets have a great passing defense. Their running defense isn't quite the same. Devon Achane, Raheem Mostert, both really can play well. I think that Jaylen Warren can have a good game, but I'm scared about that Pittsburgh Steelers backfield. There's so many questions on that Pittsburgh Steelers offense that I think the Pittsburgh Steelers could completely not score at all completely today. So I'm staying away from Jaylen Warren. I think Kenneth Walker against Philly wouldn't be a bad choice, but with him coming off that injury and stuff like that, I kind of want to take that wait and see approach. I think Devon Achane is the safer choice of the three. I like what you're doing with Jaylen Warren there, but I feel safer with Devon Achane. Jordan, thanks so much for checking us out, man. He said Jaylen Warren, Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett. I'd have to go Calvin Ridley, man. You're looking at Calvin Ridley. He's got a decent middle-of-the-road matchup this week. Like, you heard what I just said about Jaylen Warren. There's so many questions on that Pittsburgh Steelers offense. There's so many questions specifically in that Pittsburgh Steelers backfield and Tyler Lockett. There are so many damn mouths to feed right now in Seattle. DK, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith-Njigba. Do they have Geno Smith or Drew Lock? We still don't know. He's questionable going into Monday Night Football. You also have that rookie running back, Zach Charbonnet, who's been playing pretty decently. There's so many mouths to feed, and Tyler Lockett, really, I was wrong on Tyler Lockett at the beginning of the year. I thought he'd be a lot safer of a choice and a lot less up and down of a player. I think the safest way to go right there is going to be Calvin Ridley, the number one target in an offense that really needs to show out in order to really lock in this division, because it's not an unbelievable fact that the Jacksonville Jaguars could lose 2 to 3 of their last few games, and the Colts or Texans take over number one spot. And the Jacksonville Jaguars completely missed the playoffs after such a up and down season. So I think the Jacksonville Jaguars really need to punch the gas. You're looking at Trevor Lawrence being hurt last week. He wasn't himself last week, and I think Trevor Lawrence comes back this week. I like Calvin Ridley a lot. No Christian Kirk right now. So it's Zay Jones and Calvin Ridley. So I like Calvin Ridley a lot, man. That man's going to eat a lot today. Thank you so much for the question. And thank you all so much for tuning in today, man. This has been an absolutely amazing Saturday morning episode. We're going to have another episode tomorrow morning. I don't know the energy that I'm going to have tomorrow. We've got a nice Christmas party that we're going to this evening. So we'll see. But you already know how we do around here. We're high energy, high information, and just high all the time. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. And another special message about next week. Next week, I will be at the Denver Broncos, New England Patriots Sunday night football game. On Christmas Eve with my homeboy Max, my girlfriend, all that good stuff. We're going to be having a fantastic time. So you're going to be getting a live episode live from Mile High Stadium down here in Denver, Colorado. Y'all already know I'm a Colts fan. So Broncos, Patriots, my team has no skin in the game outside of my fantasy football aspirations. So we're beginning a live pregame show a Sunday evening next week from the parking lot. And you're also going to be getting all kinds of absolutely amazing content from the parking lot, fan interviews and things like that. So drop down in some comments on some of my videos that I post this week and let me know something that you'd like me to ask random Bronco fans, random Patriots fans while I'm up there in Denver this weekend. And make sure you guys tune in to the live episode tomorrow and both the live episodes next week when we talk about our Saturday episode and our live episode from Denver in Mile High Stadium. So thank y'all so much for tuning in today. Happy Saturday. Happy holidays. And as always, keep your damn chin up and keep that attitude all the way down. That's going to do it for your boy today. I'm going to get up out of here. Y'all have a beautiful day. Good luck.